We're going to keep working this. We're going to get as many signatures as we can, and then the meeting's going to start, and we're going to cover the whole meeting.
Makes me feel better about myself.
Can't watch. Oh, I know.
Of course. Hi guys, working on getting signatures. Have you signed the petition yet to change the government type?
I don't know if I'd be able to do that. Is it?
Well, Jeff Dingman, the city administrator, signed it. I think that's a pretty good indication.
Oh, he did?
Yes, he did. I think if Jeff Dingman can sign it, I don't think there's anybody that can't. Are you a Portsmouth registered voter?
I live in Greenwood.
Oh, then you can't. That'd be why you
should've
can't.
led with that.
That would have been a good thing to lead with.
Yeah,
But, yes.
but yeah.
How do you feel about that idea?
Benefits the citizens, I'm for it. That's how I am opposed to this.
Right. We have around 500 cities in Arkansas. We're one of only 8 that's not ran by a mayor.
It's the secret change.
We were the second largest, and Fayetteville changed to be ran by a mayor, and it didn't take very long for them to overtake us. We're going to get some signatures. How you doing?
It is Sean, right?
Yeah. Shane, close enough.
Shane.
Yeah, close enough.
No, it ain't. It's his twin brother. Where's his long hair?
Oh, I have it pulled up. It's St. Patrick's Day, and I couldn't figure out how to wear green, so I had a green scrunchie.
I'm wondering.
Yeah, you got green on too.
Yeah.
We got to celebrate our Irishness.
Yeah. You ain't thought anything else about what I told you the other day about the schools being shut down? You just like,
Well, so it's one of those things where the people that know that are not them. So I asked Jeff about it. He didn't know. So I need to talk to somebody in the school board, and I haven't talked to anybody that's a part of that yet. That'll be probably our superintendent that knows
with
that.
the bad weather.
And it's not like we're going to have any shortage of that this year.
And
clearly.
like I told you the other night, I'd hate to have to jump in my bat cave.
Right. How far away is the nearest shelter if that one's not there?
What's the closest one from our
Hi,
house?
everybody.
That's the one I was telling him about.
About Trusty?
Yeah.
Down there on Musset, you go around that corner, that school down there.
Okay.
Morrison, ain't
Yeah,
it?
Morrison.
Morrison.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a pretty good haul.
Well, we got a cellar in the backyard, but I ain't getting in.
Yeah, that might be a bit of a challenge.
I wouldn't get in anyway. It's moldy.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we use it for a storage building because
Hi,
our
everybody.
storage building's about to fall apart. But yeah. No,
Where can you find this button up on my TikTok showcase?
button.
Oh, somebody's asking about this shirt, where they could buy the shirt, and I was telling them where they could find it.
Well, if it was a couple sizes bigger, I'd say just come and find the van card and take it off of him.
How you doing, Joey?
Good.
How are you?
Hey,
Good to see you.
now he might know something about the schools.
Probably
knows-
not that, but you could ask
He
him.
knows everything.
He has a hand in a few things, but I don't think he'd claim to know everything if you asked him. Hi, everybody.
Hey,
We're about
Joe.
to start the meeting. Everybody's lining up over there. Let me get the cameras adjusted.
This looks like when the sun helps us.
Yeah, she likes my style. I don't blame her. I like my style too. She has excellent taste. Here we go. And that's not like in the vampiric way. Let's flip the camera. Get ready. That's who I think you need to find out with is the school board. That's who you need to ask is the school board.
Yeah. Yeah, so like spring break, is that what you're talking about?
Good evening, welcome to the City of Fort Smith Board of Directors meeting on this March 17th, 2026. The meetings are being televised live for the benefit of residents who cannot be with us in person. At this time, I'm going to ask Director Neil Martin, would you do the case report, and Director Christine Savage, would you use in the pledge?
Let's pray. Father, thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight and make decisions for the city of Fort Smith. Lord, we always ask for wisdom and guidance from you. Lord, I pray that you would impart intellect and correct information into our brains, Lord, so we can make decisions that will move our city forward. Lord, I pray that you and those that come and speak before the board, Lord, we pray for wisdom for them. We pray for courage. And Lord, we're thankful for all that you do for us each and every day. And Lord, we're thankful for your Son who died on the cross for our sins. Father, we love you. We thank you. We ask these things in your name.
Flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Madam Clerk.
Directors Rigo.
Here.
Good.
Here.
Kemp.
Here.
George Cassavas.
Here.
Christina Cassavas. Here. Settle.
Here.
Martin.
Here. Thank you. This time I'll ask if there's any board member that have any item of business not already on the agenda for this meeting. Okay. Seeing none, we'll ask for approval of the March 3rd regular minutes.
So moved. Second.
Thank you all in favor.
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, just as a reminder, a motion is second to adopt each of the following items must be offered before the director's comments are made. Also, public comments on items must pertain to the presented item. This time we'll go to the first item on the agenda.
Thank you, Mayor. The first item tonight is a resolution reinstating mosquito fogging operations by the Public Works Department. This topic was discussed at February 24th study session, and the board placed a resolution on this evening's agenda for consideration. The city performed mosquito spraying for many years, but discontinued the program in 2025 due to budgetary considerations. There has been discussion on both sides of this issue the past few years. Some residents favor the program for control of nuisance and potential disease-carrying mosquitoes, while others contend that the chemicals used have detrimental effects on residents, pets, pollinators, and other beneficial insects or the environment in general. Board members have recently received feedback from residents opposing discontinuing the program, which has led to this consideration. Matt Baker, Director of Public Works, may have additional comments and will address questions from the board.
Okay, thank you very much. At this time, are there any citizens' comments, Madam Clerk?
Yes, we do have two that have signed in, the first being Nancy Rainey. And then she has also provided some information that I'm passing out.
Ms. Rainey, you're recognized.
Nancy Rainey, 8108 Adam Drive, Fort Smith, 17903. Good evening, and thank you for giving me time to talk about item number 1 on the agenda, citywide vermicomb spraying. As we head into spring and summer, our city will face rising complaints about mosquitoes because of concerns about mosquito-borne illnesses. While the goal of reducing mosquito populations is understandable, the blanket approach of using this
Thank you,
insecticide
Mac.
carries significant unintended consequences for our local environment and public health. Permethrin is a non-selective insecticide. It doesn't just target mosquitoes, it is highly toxic to the beneficial insects that sustain our ecosystem. This includes essential pollinators like bees and butterflies, as well as the natural predators of mosquitoes such as dragonflies and damselflies. By killing these predators, we risk creating a rebound effect where mosquito populations actually surge once the chemical wears off because their natural checks and balances have been wiped out. Permethrin is extremely toxic to fish and aquatic life. Even with careful application, rain causes runoff into local streams and ponds, devastating these fragile habitats. It also impacts bird populations that rely on insects as their primary food source, particularly during nesting season when birds might use permethrin coated nesting materials, which causes weak eggs and bird illnesses. From a health perspective, while it's safe for treating clothing, large-scale aerial or truck spraying increases the risk of inhalation and accidental exposure for residents and pets. Permethrin can be fatal for cats. There are better ways. We should prioritize integrated pest management, focusing on larval control in standing water and encouraging residents to use personal protection. Let's choose a path that protects our community without poisoning our yards. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Next, we have Kim Fodge.
Good evening. I agree with everything that she just said. I think that while the city should be responsible for spraying the public parks and other entities, I don't think it's the city's responsibility to spray private properties. If individual properties have issues with mosquitoes, I think it's their responsibility to spray their own property. Mr. Meeker has mentioned previously that there's an issue. Some properties don't want their houses sprayed, other properties do, so it's hit and miss, and we can just kind of rectify that by not spraying private properties at all. Thank you.
Thank you.
And last, we have Gary Podgorski.
Good evening, members of the board. Mr. Dingman, is this the I'm sorry, I'm getting some feedback. Is this the one plan to spray the entire city, or are we looking at the hit and miss?
They will reinstate spraying on the entire city with the exception for folks who have requested to be on the no spray zone. Is that correct, Matt, or is it intended to be for the whole city?
Okay.
I had intended initially to keep out the whole city, but, based on feedback I got during the study session, basically it was, we'll reinstate the no spray test. Thank you.
Okay, so I told a couple of you at the study session, a mosquito can fly 1 to 3 miles. Okay? Whether we like it or not, Fort Smith has a river running through it. It's a mosquito breeding ground. I'm fully in favor of spraying in and around the rivers, in and around the water areas, in and around the little ponds, but I don't think we need to do the city for the reasons that these lovely ladies have said, in addition to the cost factor. So that's my opinion. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
That's all for item 1.
Okay, thank you. This time we will entertain a motion to adopt a resolution. So. Second. We have a motion second. This time we'll go to board member comments. Director Good, you recognize.
Okay, I'll start. Dealt with this several times over the years.
And I seconded, to put this up for discussion, because I think there needs to be quite a bit of discussion from the board, because it's obvious that we're not gonna satisfy everyone's desire, to either not spray or to spray. You know, even partially spraying, as Mr. Meeker alluded to, it's gonna be difficult, if we have a hodgepodge of homes in an area that we're skipping, and we're having to keep track of who to spray and who not to spray. There's just a whole lot to consider. So, give you a little bit of background, where we were several years ago, when we were talking about this, you know, one of the issues we were talking about were for natural prohibitants, such as bats. So the city actually installed some bat houses at Carolina Cross Park. In the conversation, you know, people were concerned about, you know, bat bites opposed to mosquito bites, particularly their pets and children. So again, there's a lot of people for, a lot of people against. So this is just one of those issues that we know that we're not gonna be able to please everybody. So I am very much concerned about the lack of
Shouldn't be hating on
knowledge
bats. We love bats.
that we've used, well, not lack of knowledge, but lack of knowledge that we use in making a decision. Particularly when it comes to what this pesticide does to other insects, needed insects. You know, I actually talked to a couple of people that have beehives. I know the majority of people don't, but I do know several people that do. And in a matter of a week, you know, this pesticide that we spray, you know, can kill, you know, a hive. You know, I for one like lightning bugs around my house and butterflies and ladybugs, but I also live by Sutton Pond, you know, which is a breeding ground, which has a stream running through it because it's part of a drainage easement. And we have drainage easements all around the town. Particularly the north side is a very low-lying area, so we have a whole lot of areas that hold water, which of course infestation grounds for mosquitoes. So even though there's plenty of answers out there, alternative measures, I just wanted to open this up for board discussion.
Thank you. Reverend George DeSantis.
Matt?
Is it possible to spray targeted areas that are complaint driven and not everything?
I mean, we can do that, yes. You're gonna run into the same issue any way you do it, because you're gonna run into issues if you are spraying in certain areas where people complain.
Mm-hmm.
There may be people complaining because you are spraying, but I mean, it's something that can be done, yes, we can do that.
Which would save money in the long run, but not.
Yes, because we'll be using less chemical, yes.
So, if there's a complaint for, say, Village Harbor,
Mm-hmm.
would you spray all of Village Harbor or just that area that's complaining, just the houses in that area that are having trouble?
Well, it's something we haven't discussed this really yet until now, doing this targeted spraying per se, I mean, and what that would look like. But I mean, I would think we would spray, like if somebody complained in a certain street, that we might spray a street instead of spraying the whole neighborhood.
Right, I mean, because Ms. Fogg, I think she had a good point, and I just, I'm really torn on this. It's just, I don't know if we need to study it some more before we vote or not, I don't know. But, I'll just leave it at that right now.
Director Rigo.
Thank you, Mayor, and, I certainly acknowledge, that this is one of those topics, and this is a top 3 thing I've heard on, and I would say the feedback is split very much down the middle, maybe 55, 45, one direction or the other. And, I obviously was one of the people that was in the minority for retaining this last year. I will say, I think it's important to reflect on that when you look at the people who are speaking out about.
Yes, I'll be speaking tonight in a few minutes.
Possible harms with the bee population or pollinators or the bat population. This was something we did with regularity in our community from the mid-1960s until last year. Has there been a noticeable improvement with the bees or the pollinators or the bats not having done it for a year? I think that's a question that's worth keeping on the mind. And then, you know, it's just interesting because so much of this is anecdotal. I live on a street, for 8 house, dead end street, 4 on each side, and that mosquito truck, up until last year, always trundled with regularity, down our street, and lightning bugs were every night, much to the delight of my children. So I think this is one where people are going to be able to point to things that prove their preference one way or the other. And this is one of those situations where we have to think of a broader responsibility that comes with having to try to do something to address the mosquito population, and also the recognition that we just stopped doing something that had been done since the mid-1960s, and there are going to be consequences from a mosquito standpoint because of it. Thank you.
Thank you. Director Christine Sanders.
Well, I wonder, instead of forcing this on people who don't want it, should we, instead of spraying the whole city, letting people opt out, should we let people opt in, the ones that want it? Would that be easier?
I don't know that it'd be easier, because I think what we have, what we've seen here, at least in the past year, I think there's probably more. There's definitely a strong contingent that doesn't want it, and there's a strong contingent that wants it, but I do think the contingent that wants it is somewhat more, and it might be easier to exclude people than to opt in people. But, I mean, we can do it either way. However the board wants us to do it, I mean, that's the way we're gonna do it, so.
Thank you.
Director Neil Martin.
So I remember when we made the decision to go away from this, it was primarily budgetary. So in 24, I think we made the decision to go against it. Part of the information that you shared with us is that drivers were being threatened. We had drivers being threatened to drive around.
Yeah.
That's spraying and stuff. So, you know, I think those things still exist. I think there's still budgetary concerns. As it relates to the 2026 budget, we made some pretty specific, difficult cuts across the board, and we still are trying to be positive in 2026, but we're already not there. We've already gone negative in terms of slides tonight, in terms of spay and neuter vouchers, which we saw a long-term benefit out of that, carryovers and carry forward. So we're already going negative. So where we tried to be balanced, we're not anymore. So this just adds to that. You know, and many people have reached out to me. They said getting it through the spray is not the most effective way. Doing it at the larvae level is the way to do it, which this spray doesn't get. And I think that the key thing for me is, the thing I said in the study session, we still have no data. Either way, we have no data. We have no data that says this works, that this has decreased the amount of mosquito population. I would love to be able to get that data, but in lack of data, to me it doesn't make sense to do something when we don't know the output. You can't, what's it, as the old saying go, you can't measure something unless you actually collect the data for it, and we don't necessarily have that. So, so I'm still a no. I've been a no the whole time on this one, and I think this is the smart choice for citizens. I posted something out today on Facebook, and I was really surprised. I did it on my lunch hour, and I got back to my phone like almost at 4 o'clock, and it was so many people saying, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. And, you know, we're hearing that tonight. So I'm a no, and I'll be a no on this one. Appreciate your work, Matt, but I don't think it's the right thing for us.
Director Kim.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Meeker, for standing here tonight and answering questions. I think I'm in agreement with Director Martin on this, that, you know, data, there is, I had my barista this morning did a deep dive into this, and he's of high interest into this conversation. Sent, I think you probably sent you an email he sent me.
That's the same guy, okay, good.
Yeah, Alan's a great guy. And Alan and I even talked on the way to the meeting, and I said, man, I wish you could be here. He said, I'm sorry, I've got to work till 7:30 tonight. But he pointed out that UALR, University of Arkansas, has a group that is studying mosquitoes, especially mosquitoes in Arkansas. And he had a bunch of data, a lot of research to share with me, and he was pointing out that this is only going to address the biting age of this and not really getting to the issue. And he brought up some good ideas of even going back to the GSI maps, GIS maps that are out there, and looking at identifying low areas in addition to along river edge properties, places that are flood prone within the community or have standing water, and increasing and standing up more larvicide efforts, or even planting plants that will draw in dragonflies to the ecosystem. But, you know, in his fairness, he was even saying that he would not necessarily stand in opposition to spraying, but that don't just use what we have and don't go buy more chemical until we've had more research and data. And I think to that effort, as this item stands tonight, I'm a no. But in the spirit of what Alan has talked to me about, if it was targeted to what would be identified as from the GIS map as low areas or river, or focusing on those particular areas only, then I could be for that. But as it stands, as far as just blanketing the city, and then from a personal standpoint, even as a kid, I remember in Fort Smith, that truck coming and you're on your bike with your friends, and immediately thinking, hey, I think I should go inside right now. Like, I don't know if I should stand outside. And I know we've talked about, you know, how we dilute it and try to be safety and conscious minded, but even mentally, I thought, I don't know if I should be breathing this. And so for me, I'm a no as it sticks here tonight, for me personally. Thank you.
Director Good.
Thank you, Mayor. Matt, do we dilute our chemical such that it does not affect mosquito larvae in water? Because what I read, what I was sent also, is that what we use does actually kill the larvae.
Well, no, what we use, we have larvicide tablets available for people, but what we use in our fogging operations is an adulticide. And so this only kills the adult materials, but it is diluted, it's not straight product.
Okay.
And so it is diluted to a set amount, you know, based on the manufacturer's recommendations.
Okay. Okay, thank you, I appreciate that. Second, I wanted to make a comment on public perception. You know, what I found is a lot of the people that I've spoke to that are in favor of spraying pretty much just want to know, or want us to know, that they are tax-paying citizens, and that they want to know that we're doing something for their benefit. And I don't know if maybe announcing it first might have been a better idea, but people want to see that we are doing something with taxpayer dollars in ways other than just street fire safety, I would say.
Any other comments? Director Rigo, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Thank you. I just had a question in the budget realm, if Andy was available to answer a question. You know, so the, you know, materials, we talked about, you know, the budget information, budget out of Public Works, Street Maintenance Fund. If we were to proceed with this tonight, Andy, you know, is this going to take us out of balance, if you will? You know, the comments been made around operational balance. Can you speak to that, please?
In particular with the street maintenance fund, I mean, we're spending a lot of capital out of that fund. I think we were spending up the fund balance, so we weren't necessarily in total in balance per se. From an operating perspective, I can't say for sure, but I would think that our operating numbers would still be in balance for street maintenance fund with the 150,000 included. But we're spending, you know, we're buying equipment and you know, doing street equipment out of that fund, using up that fund balance in 26.
Sure. Hey, Director, I think I misspoke on that. It is coming out of the street maintenance fund, not the general fund. So we're still spending the dollars. It's just not out of the general fund. So I did misspeak on that. Thank you.
Thank you for the clarification. I mean, is there, and I wanted to ask, was there, well, I guess I was, kind of sensing where some of the commentary is going, but also not wishing to, you know, have nothing moving forward. I mean, is there, I think I'll make a motion, to amend what we have here in front of us to, focus on the, on spraying the public park areas, and then, directing staff as well to look at, you know, present us with some options for GIS, mapping perhaps along the riverfront or main waterways, so that we can still do some beneficial work, but, you know, perhaps focus it on the areas of greatest need. So now make a motion to amend.
I'll second
Before you do that, Director Settle was in the queue.
I'm sorry.
We had a couple of people in the queue.
Jared, that's fine. Sorry about that, folks. I was actually going to bring the same thing up. My in-laws live next to a city waterway, and it's concrete, and they have a high mosquito. And one thing I heard all past the year is about mosquitoes. So maybe what you're bringing up is kind of what I was going to do, is do we do something and then figure out where those waterways are, those water paths, and determine if they're high probability. It's not just going to be on the riverfront, it's going to be Mill Creek, it's going to be inner waterway drainage areas, over by Kimmons is part of it, but that's where they live at. So yeah, that's kind of where you're going with that. I think that'd be an acceptable option. Start with public parks, and then we branch out from there as needed or necessary. Thank you, Mayor.
Director Christina Sanders.
So I agree with that. I was gonna make a motion that we provide this as a service to people who opt into it. So residents that want that service, they're paying taxes, they want those taxologies, that way they can opt in to do it. Could we add that to your motion as well? And we'll see how that goes. But we've gotten a lot of communication around this. It's been pretty evenly split, I think, from what I've seen. So there are residents who want that, and I'm fine with letting them, you know, opt in to have that service. So could we include with your motion as well?
Yes.
Director Rico, you want to make the motion? So
I would just make a motion to combine, I'll remake the motion, I suppose, to focus efforts on public parks and congregation spaces, main waterway thoroughfares, and then also provide a opt-in option for residents in other parts of the community who can reach out to the city and indicate that they would like the service provided to them.
You want the GIS for the waterways, right?
Yes.
Let come back and tell us what those areas are.
I'll second that.
Okay, we got a motion second. Is there any further discussion?
This is for the amendment.
For the amendment.
Directors Rigo,
Yes.
Good,
Yes.
Kemp,
Yes.
George Katsakis.
Yes.
Christina Katsakis.
Yes.
Settle.
Yes.
Martin.
No.
Motion passes, 6 in favor and 1 opposed.
I make a motion to pass the resolution as amended.
Second.
If there's no discussion, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Directors Good,
Yes.
Kemp,
Yes.
George Katsakis. Christina Katsakis.
Yes.
Settle.
Yes.
Martin.
No.
Rigo.
Yes.
Motion passes, 6 in favor and 1 opposed.
Thank you very much. This time we go to item number 2.
Item 2 is a request by the Public Works Department to appropriate funds for the purchase of an additional AMR mobile meter reading setup. The city currently has 3 such systems with no spare. All 3 systems are required for the timely and efficient reading of the AMR meters. So anytime one of the systems must be down for repairs or upgrades, the overall billing schedule suffers. Adding a 4th unit will allow a backup unit that can be used when repairs or updates are needed and ensure that 3 units are always available. Mr. Meeker may have further comment. I'll answer questions from the board.
Thank you. Have any comments you'd like to make?
No, Administrator Demon covered everything, so.
Okay, thank you very much. Madam Clerk, are there any public comments?
None indicated.
Okay, we need a motion to adopt the ordinance.
So moved.
Second, thank you. Any comments from the board?
I'm sorry, who moved it in second?
Any comments from the board? Please call.
Directors Kemp,
Yes.
George Katsakis?
Yes.
Christina Katsakis?
Yes.
Settle?
Yes.
Martin?
Yes.
Rico?
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
It's approved, 7 in favor and 0 opposed.
Item 3.
Items 3A and 3B relate to the construction of water slides at Parrot Island Water Park. These items are the result of a competitive bidding process where sealed bids were accepted separately for the concrete construction components of the installation and for the aquatics equipment and piping components on March 5th. The bids were discussed at the March 10th study session, and the board advanced these items to this agenda for consideration. Item 3A is acceptance of the bid and approval of the contract with SSI Incorporated for the concrete and construction portion of the project in the total amount inclusive of a payment and performance bond of $1,751,910. Item 3B is acceptance of the bid and approval of the contract with Clarity Pools for the aquatics equipment and piping portion of the project in the total amount inclusive of a payment and performance bond of $664,200. The combined total amount of $2,416,110 is within the amount identified and appropriated for this project. And this work will combine with the contract approved with CSM Waterworks last year to install the slides and get them operational. Remaining funds allocated to this project will be used for items such as fencing, sidewalks, landscaping, third-party inspections, or other items that will be needed to complete the project. With that, let's go through questions from the board.
Thank you. This time we'll ask for comments from citizens.
We do have, I think there's 5 that I counted, so the first being Kim Fodge, and each will have 2 minutes.
Good evening. While I'm glad that the city obtained bids through the proper channel, my concern with this item is the city bearing full responsibility while the county still owns half of the park. Before any work is performed, I think the city needs to vote on whether or not they want to agree to the county no longer bearing responsibility for the park and the city taking on full responsibility for ownership. So until anything, that agreement is passed, I think any work or any construction on these water slides needs to halt. You should not bear the full responsibility when we know we own half the park. Thank you.
Next, we have Joey McCutcheon.
Thank you. I agree with what Ms. Fox just said. It makes perfect sense. I also want to talk about two things, 2 processes, and that's trust and that's transparency. And frankly, both have been damaged during this conversation. However well-meaning Director Kemp was, when you don't have competitive bidding, it undermines trust. It gives us the perception that something's going on. We know that, there wasn't just Royal Ridge. Now we know that 3 local companies, SSI, Steve Beam Construction, and Royal Ridge, all submitted competitive bidding. And that's important. And we also learned from transparency, from having these public discussions, that just looking at the bonding, I believe Director Katsavas spoke to that, $17,000 from SSI, Steve Beam, $19,000, and a whopping $88,000 for Royal Ridge. And that should tell the board why we need an open process, because what that indicates is that that's a premium. I mean, that's a risk premium. And that could expose citizens to danger. If we go with Royal Ridge and the thing collapses and kills our citizens, I mean, but I think trust and transparency is what we need to reestablish in Fort Smith. I appreciate the board reconsidering and doing competitive bidding. We need to do competitive bidding in all projects. That's transparency. Thank you.
Next, we have Danny Williams.
Good evening, board.
July 2024 is when this started. There was 50 people in here against it, and y'all went ahead and did it. Transparency is the key. We're learning things today and continue to learn things that wasn't talked about then. The definition of ignorance is not knowing what's going on and making decisions out of not knowing. Then there's this other definition, it's called stupidity, and that's being ignorant on purpose, and that's where we're at. It's very sad to see, and it's very hard to talk about like this, because I believe our citizens in this city deserve better. And I feel like y'all will continue to vote and out of complete stupidity. And it's so much affecting our community. And everybody I talk to says the same thing. They want to be able to trust, they want things to be different. And you would think after 2 years, we could get to a solution. But still, we don't have the transparency. We still really, at this point, don't even know how the process was laid out like it. But in 2024, we were going to spend $2.1 million. September 30 went up to 4.2. The board voted on it, okay? Not everybody was 4-3. In 2026, we had this other vote that we looked at, but it was based on this idea of getting bids and not really going through the proper channels again. And that's another transparency thing. When are we going to get it right? When are we going to get it right? Well, I'll tell you when. I believe when citizens vote some of y'all to the street, back to do things that something we do. If you really cared, you would really listen. There was a lot of people here that night 2 years ago that said no, but we had someone say it's just a drop in the bucket. Well, guess what? It keeps dropping, and it keeps adding up.
Yeah.
So do the right thing. Don't do it.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong.
Next, we have Shane McKinney.
Hi, everybody. I want to thank you for supporting bats and more support of the bloodsuckers than some of you let on, I suppose. So I think that was a good decision. But that said, this water slide issue, this is an opportunity for some of you to kind of end some suspicion and end some problems. This has not been good for any of you. This has not been good for my city. There are serious issues of hundreds of millions of dollars, and we're caught up on just a few million because of the trust that was broken, because of the transparency. And frankly, if I had a tenant who wasn't able to pay their rent, and I found out that they were putting lifts on their truck and fancy underlighting and all the fun stuff in life, when not taking care of their base essentials, not keeping the water bill turned on, that's the kind of tenant that I have to consider eviction. And I think that's what you're feeling from a lot of the community. And I know some of you want to say this is a silent majority here, this is just a silent few, a silent minority, or a loud minority, or whatever the hell we say for it. But there's a lot more people than this. I'm talking to thousands of people online right now. Thousands and thousands and thousands. It may feel like just a few people sitting in here, but this isn't good for y'all, and it's not good for us. There's a time when you've sunk enough money into it and you can say, you know what, yeah, we tried it. It wasn't a good deal after all. Let's cut our losses and move forward. You guys have another chance to do that. You don't get that chance very often. Most of the time, once you've decided, like, now you're stuck. But you guys really can change this whole conversation. And it only takes one of you to change their mind. So, which one of you would man up and do this? Or vampire?
And last we have Gary Podgorski.
Wow, I get to go last. Okay, so for those of you who may or may not know, I live in Ward 4. So that's you, Director Castavis, and I know your opinion on this. Okay?
Do what?
I know your opinion on this thing. I also know that I have 3 at-large directors. And that's Director Martin, Director Castavis, I know both of your opinions, and Director Settle, I think I know your opinion as well.
Yes.
So I'm gonna ask the question the director said. How many people have contacted you personally, pro and against this issue?
Pro, over 1,000.
And against?
20, personally, not in this one, personally.
So you're telling me that 1,000 people?
Look, you asked my opinion.
I'm not asking your opinion.
You asked me what the
You
question.
have those numbers that you can.
I've had over 1,000 contact me over these.
Okay. All right. Wow.
That was the last for item 3.
Okay, thank you very much. This time we'll entertain a motion to adopt the resolutions.
So moved. Is this for item 3A and 3B together?
We're gonna batch these together.
Second.
A and B?
Yes. We're gonna batch them together. Okay. So we will have a motion and a second.
A and B?
This time we will entertain comments from the director, Christine.
You know, Fayetteville just passed a resolution authorizing their own aquatics facility. And when we look at the visitor breakdown of who attends Parrot Island, I think for last year it was 71% of people out of town, with over 30% of people coming from Northwest Arkansas. So we've got to wonder, what is that going to do to our attendance, our revenue? You know, I think we're gonna see a big drop in the coming year. Maybe we could sell these signs to Fayetteville if we looked into that. Woo! No? Okay, I think, you know, I think I've talked this thing till I'm blue in the face. I think you all know how I feel about it. Thank you.
Any other comment from Director George?
Kobe,
We think too,
Kobe, let me ask you a question. Originally, when the county and the city went 50-50 partnership on that, are you familiar with this at all?
I am familiar with the joint agreement between the county and the city that proceeded and led to the creation of Parrot Island Water Park, yes.
Okay, now since the city is paying the full amount of the slides, is the county, there's still 50% partnership, aren't there?
That agreement has not been amended, correct?
No lease has been presented or anything?
Well, I think one was discussed or proposed by the board, the quorum court, but to my knowledge, there's been no amendment to the arrangement by which the parties are 50-50 joint owners of that facility.
So as it stands now, if, let's say the water park does make money this year, is the county still entitled to 50% of the profit?
Yes.
Even though we put up there 2.1 million, or?
The deal says the parties split the net profits, they bear the costs equally. So yes, that's the arrangement.
And then the losses are still split 50-50?
That's the arrangement, yes, sir.
Well, you know, Kobe, this thing from the get-go was just the biggest cluster I've ever seen. You know, started at 2.1 million, 4.2 million, 7 million, it'll be another million before it's said and done. I haven't supported it from the start. I'm not changing my position. Time will tell. Thank you.
Thank you, George.
You're welcome. Thank you very much. Any other director?
Thank you, Mayor. I'm definitely not surprised. I appreciate the discussion from people. That I don't think this was a meeting about changing each other's minds. It's about avoiding delay and moving forward without any unnecessary delay or risk of litigation. The restructured competitive bid process for round 2, there was a round 1. For round 2, reiterated that this was still the best way to save the city money. And I think it's great that we were able to do that without going with the first competitive bidding process. A couple questions, just reiterate. When the park makes profit, which my understanding is roughly approximately $1 million since it's been opened. It had a loss during COVID and it had a loss last year. Doesn't both the county and the city leave the profits back into the parks fund?
That's correct, yes.
So, I mean, no partner is taking it out of, they're not taking their share of money and going home with it.
Correct.
Is it also fair to say that both the county and the city are full 100% owners?
Yes.
Okay, so it's not really a 50-50 point. You know, to the point of tenants who can't pay rent, it's not applicable. I mean, there's not a bill that the city is refusing to pay here. All the comments, when we talk about transparency, as much as that's a buzzword within American politics right now, all these comments were made in public. I shared in public that I was talking to a local contractor, which Director Martin acknowledged is the same person who reached out to him as well. So the performance bond, when I asked him about that as well, because I agree, that is wildly higher than their competitors. To the point that was made was, we misread that form that is built into our cost, but it still doesn't award them the lowest bidder. So it is a moot point, but it does not bring any sort of conspiracy to me that needs to be explored any further. And so when we talk about being transparent, it's being open to public scrutiny. I think that process has been awarded here and done, and I think at this point, we move forward. And then at this point, hopefully, by the ordinances that we voted unanimously on for all capital exceeding $100,000 to bring to a study session before a regular meeting, will slow down any future development such as this, I would hope, and would bring us to greater clarity. Thank you.
Director Christine Cassell.
Well, I would argue it is a 50-50 split because there's two owners equaling 100%. So,
Right.
Jeff, when we had to replace those cast iron pipes, was that in '24? What was the cost of it? Was that like close to $800,000?
Yes, it was in early 2024, the cost was in the 790,000 range, and we had about half of that built into the parks capital replacement fund from previous years.
But we had to take out of the general fund for that, didn't we?
Yes, we did. When we split the other half of that with the county and took our portion of the general fund. Yes.
You know, when you look at insurance too, and we're paying, the property insurance comes out of the general fund. The general liability comes out of the parks fund, but the property insurance, that's out of the general fund.
Right.
And with this being a $7 million project, it's nearly doubling what we've got out there, so it's effectively doubling our insurance cost. That's another thing we have to think about. And then I'm told that there's more cast iron pipes that need to be replaced, and that'll be coming after this.
Yes.
The entire park was built with the cast iron fittings. The ones that have failed were in the Lazy River area. Those have been replaced. The other ones haven't shown any signs of failure, but they are still there. Yes.
I was told differently, but I just want, everybody to be aware so that we can make sure we're all operating with the same information. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments from the board?
Mayor, I have one more.
Yes.
Jeff, tell me something, how did the park get one paying $40 a month water bill for a month?
There was the water meter was not operating correctly, and that was on the.
So it went down rated monthly?
Come on.
So it wasn't red number?
$40.
It was not registered as with usage. That's correct.
Wow.
So with this reason, would somebody reasonable would say, wait a minute, this isn't right?
That's correct. It's not right. I mean, that was.
But it went on for months though.
Correct.
Mayor, please call the order, please.
Wow. Wow.
Director George said, appreciate the director, good.
That's fine. So do you have any idea what the water bill runs now per month? Kevin, anybody?
Right now, it's running zero. There's
No, I mean when it's open.
Typically, when it's open, it runs about, well, for the year is about 30,000 for the operating.
For 3 months?
Well, for the operating season, which
Season.
is probably closer to 4 or 5 months.
So 10,000 a month for all this and that. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Director Kent?
Thank you for that, and I think those are valid questions. I have a question for administration. How much does the water cost for Creekmore Pool?
We don't assess that to the park.
Okay, thank you. How much water does the city hall cost the city of Fort Smith?
We do not charge city facilities for the water that they use.
Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any more comments from the board?
Well, I would just point out that those things aren't co-owned by the county. So the counties receive the benefit of the free water essentially. Would that be a fair statement?
That's correct, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. If there are no further comments from the board, Madam Clerk, please call the roll. We'll begin with batching 3A and B.
Directors George Katsavas,
No to A and B.
Christina Katsavas,
No.
Settle,
Yes.
Martin,
No.
Rico,
Yes.
Good,
Yes.
Kemp.
Yes.
Motion passes 4 in favor and 3 opposed.
Thank you very much. We will go to item number 4.
Item 4 is a resolution authorizing an agreement with American Resort Management to manage the water park for the 2026 operating season. The resolution also specifies that the city and county owners will solicit proposals for management services starting with the 2027 operating season no later than July 2026. County Judge Steve Oates is seeking similar approval from the Quorum Court at their meeting this evening. This item was discussed at the March 10th study session, where the board placed this item on tonight's agenda for consideration.
Okay, thank you. Are there any citizens' comments on item 4?
Yes, we do have several, the first being Kim Bodge.
I find it interesting that in the last item, the city of Fort Smith is the sole owner under that agreement, but yet under this agreement for the management, we're co-owners with the county. So it makes no sense whatsoever the way that y'all are handling all of this. Absolutely not. I mean, if we're gonna do it, let's do it right. I'm glad to see that there are items in this agreement about the financial reports. I do not think the management company, ARM, was very forthcoming with that information previously. I've requested that information through multiple FOIA requests. Thank you to Mr. Dingman and Mr. Gentry for helping me with that information. It's my opinion, because of all the issues that we've experienced with ARM and their mismanagement of Parrot Island, I think we need to come to study sessions at the very least each month and provide information to the board about what their reports are showing, what's going on with the management of that operation, what's going on with the finances, maintenance issues, anything that the board wants to know. The board was left out of the dark on a lot of issues concerning Parrot Island, and that is unacceptable, especially when you're voting to approve money going to them, and when citizens are spending money to supplement and subsidize it. So my request is that Parrot Island management be told to come to monthly meetings. They don't have an option to opt out. They have to attend. Thank you.
Kim, I've asked twice, and the excuse was we're busy.
Well, that's inexcusable. I know. I'm just letting you know that the mismanagement at Parrot Island is horrible. Thank you.
Point of order.
Next is
Point of
Carl
order.
Levin.
Let's maintain order, please.
I'm Carl Nevin, and I want to agree with Kim Fox. The only thing I want to add is we need to think about hiring another company. It's been mismanagement, and that's all I got to say.
Thank you.
Next, we have Joy McCutcheon.
Joey McCutcheon, Fort Smith. You know, if Director, or City Administrator, Acting City Administrator Dingman puts in his memo, I discussed with ARM's leadership that assuming approval, that there will be increased scrutiny of financial performance, reporting, and transparency for the park's operating season. I mean, come on. I mean, even a man like Director Lee Kemp, who thinks that transparency is a buzzword. I mean, there should have already been financial scrutiny here. Yeah. You know, we're talking, we went through a charade last year, cutting budgets, cutting savings. It really wasn't a charade. people made hard decisions. You know, we gave up security. We gave up public safety. And now, how much have we spent on ARM? You know, the same ARM that many of this board said defrauded us. That was the word. They committed fraud on this board. And Director Settle, come on. You know, did you know? That's the question I want to ask you. What did you know and when? Because we've gone up how many millions of dollars on this slide project? Did you ask tough questions when you're having your conversations in Carl Gefkin's office? I think you need to answer those questions, because we're trying to get, as I think the quote was, operational balance. And Neil Martin has made tough decisions. You know, we've got an institution, Miss Laura's, that's falling apart. Yet we've got money to spend on ARM. We've got money to spend on water slides. But we let a historic monument fall to pieces downtown. I just think trust and transparency. Is trust also a buzzword, Director Kemp?
Thank you.
Next we have Dan Williams.
Good evening again. Of course, there's not too much I could add, but I do have a question on this. Is this a resolution to approve or authorize the management company that's been running it to run it again and keep running it? And we haven't got the audit back yet?
Yep. Should be in April, start getting that in April, or the valuation starts.
Okay. So how can you do that? With everything that's been going on, how could you even consider, why is that even on there? That doesn't make a bit of sense. No one, y'all don't run your home like that without the proper information. There could be fraud, and you're gonna agree to this? Is that what I'm hearing? Is that what y'all are saying? Y'all are gonna agree to this, and there could be fraud? Is that what y'all are saying? Anybody?
We have to pass the bill to find out what's in it.
I'll be happy to address your
I would
comments.
say audit not completed is at the top of my list of notes here, so
Yeah,
bring it.
absolutely. If this passes tonight, y'all are making huge mistakes. Huge mistakes. I understand this is some kind of something special project, and it was handled behind the scenes, and you want it done, and you want it finished. But this same kind of thing is a revealing of the things that have happened for years. And we're done, okay? And someone needs to step up. Jeff, is it gonna be you? Someone needs to step up. Neil, is it gonna be you? Is it gonna be you, Mr. McGill? Are you gonna step up? Are you gonna let this keep playing out like this? Where's the integrity and the character? Y'all wanna set a standard for this community, but yet you won't even stick to a proper standard.
That's right.
What's going on? What's going on? What's going on in your hearts?
And last we have Gary Parkey.
I'm going, Joey. Yeah.
Okay, so here we go again. Director Gustavus, I'm going to ask you as my director to put forth a motion for an amendment to this particular bill, or whatever y'all want to call it, that no payment goes until ARM shows up here. I'm pretty sure
Payment goes wherever.
to ARM. They're doing this for money, right?
Yep.
Okay, we pay them to do this?
Yep.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, so the motion is that I'm requesting that you put forth as my director is that no payment goes from the city of Fort Smith
We have it.
to ARM until they show up.
We have it.
That's first thing. Second motion I'd like to put forward is that you delay this vote for 60 days until that audit comes back. are my two requests for you and my director.
You gonna do it right now?
I want you to do it in accordance with, proper protocol, as, at the part of the mayor.
Okay, go ahead and make that motion. Okay. Okay.
Madam President? Was there any more?
No, that was the last one.
This time, we will entertain a motion to adopt a resolution.
So moved. Second.
Okay. Now we'll entertain comments from the board director.
Mayor, go ahead, I'll make the motion.
Well, that's me, right?
Oh, that, okay.
Well, I would say, I think have they already been paid for 25? So what we're discussing is for 26, so we would need to write that into the contract. Is how we would need to proceed with that, but is that correct, Jeff? So I don't think that this is who we should go with. And, I had, top of my notes, the audit's not been completed. I'm also, and I wanna thank Director Martin for asking for the other, bids to be sent to us so we could review the proposals. I did that. And I'm wondering how this was scored. At the very least, we should have used the other proposals to leverage a better deal with ARM, but I don't think we can trust them. I still think about that $8,000 check. We had to bring it to their attention. It wasn't just that they lost the check. The woman who wrote the check contacted me, and this was in September, it had been written in May. We had to bring it to their attention. That's big. When I look at some of the other people, the SFM, they said, we provide best practices guidelines so the city county can plan in advance the costs associated with keeping the facility operating efficiently and compliant with safety standards. They talked about transparency with financial reporting, including providing monthly financial reports. And they demonstrated ways to generate revenue. They had all kinds of different revenue streams. They talked about swimming lessons aligned with school breaks, lifeguard training classes, physical therapy things for elderly people. They have theme nights, tie-dye, glow swim, luau. I mean, it seems like a much more comprehensive management practices than what we're looking at. And I know up front it looks like it's a little bit more, but when you take into account the 5% we're paying ARM, plus the $154,000 we're paying the director, it really kind of all comes out in the wash. Plus with this SFM, it looks like you get some marketing as well, and I think we spent about $250,000 on marketing last year. So I'm not in favor of moving forward with ARM.
Thank you, Christina.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple thoughts I would like to share on this topic. As was mentioned, not to be bears repeating, the quorum court decided from their perspective to proceed for this year with ARM tonight. I don't know if people were there making their feelings known to the quorum court, but that was a decision that they made tonight. There was a review panel made up of staff from the county and the city that reviewed the 5 submissions and felt that 2 were significantly more qualified than the other 3. And indeed, the other finalists, aside from ARM, said the following statement: at this stage in the process, we would not recommend transitioning to a new operating team. This was the other finalists saying this. For the 2026 season, regardless of the provider, a change on that timeline is likely to be disruptive and will not yield optimal results. No operator could fully mobilize, implement best practices, and put their best foot forward in such a compressed window, regardless of what they may say. And this is the other finalists saying this. It also points out in the memo that ARM is prepared and fully cooperating with the audit process that's currently underway. They're participating without issue. I think it will be interesting. There's no going back on the audit. It will be very interesting to see what's found from the audit, and if fraud, which is a word that gets said a lot in these comments, is not found by the outside audit. I do wonder what people's comments will be in response to that. I'll just say this, I am very agnostic about what firm manages our water park, but I'm not agnostic about chaos or doing something in a time of transition and with a partial year and with a construction project underway, and particularly when the other finalist says, don't do this. So I'm all for looking and seriously considering for the 2027 season and beyond a different operator, but it just doesn't strike me right now as the time to make this change, particularly when the other finalist is saying, don't do this. So those are my comments. Thank you all for listening. Thank you for being here, and thank you for sharing with us.
Director Kim.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you for my colleagues for speaking to this. I want to make sure that I specify some things. One, I voted for the audit, I stand for the audit. I'm not for being the sole owner of the city being the sole owner of Parrot Island Water Park, simply because, as I've stated on record already, the cast iron fittings, the other expenses that are still to be told or calculated should be shared and then looked at along the other way. Since I voted for the audit, I think it is wise that if they're cooperating and have not looked to discontinue their service with us, to keep them in communication with us, and furthermore, to dig into comparative thoughts about what they do with their procedures. I would like to see us do that. As much scrutiny as this water park has garnered because of the deals in 2024 that were there and all that, the Civic Center has costed us and will continue to cost us substantial money. And we have put so much spirit around this. When we talk about Miss Laura's house, it isn't forgotten. It's actually in the budget carryovers to take care of that. That's not the city being negligent. Bring us something to vote on and we'll be happy to take action to it. When we talk about giving up on public safety, the police had vacant positions at the time that were still able to be filled. Public safety has been a pursuit of this board in the pursuit of our first responders. I think they've done a great job, as the crime reports indicate that we get on our annual review. When the question was asked by how are we doing this, we have an obligation to either own and operate this water park this year, or accept that if we want to make some changes, which I guess, I can hear further discussion from my colleagues to change my opinion on this, but just know that when we go to the end of the season and it doesn't show profit, know that we got in the way of that. So, I think when we look at this, we have a due diligence to run the water park, to conduct the audit, for transparency, to bring the results of that audit to the public, and to continue to do the best practice that we have. And that's where I'm going with this. Thank you.
Any other?
Director, Mayor, can I go ahead, can I make a motion? Or
If
can you?
you just hold on. Director Settle, Director Christine Savage, then Director Settle.
Well, I would just say we don't need an audit to know that there have been statements of fact that were false.
Yep.
And statements that led us down this path to these slides about the cost of the shipping, the storage of the slides. I mean, we already know that. We don't even have to wait for the audit on that. So regardless of how they're running the park, just the whole situation around bringing the slides to us, the purchase of the slides, there were a lot of false statements made, and I said it last week, and I still believe it. I think this is a slap in the face to the people we're supposed to represent, to say we're going to continue doing business with someone like this.
Director Settle.
Thank you, Mayor. Just as Director Rigo alluded to, the county and the city are joint co-ownership. There was a group that put it through there, and they chose to keep what we have. If you do anything to disrupt what you have today, you're pretty much going to have a lost season. And then you're going to come back and ask for money in the back, and we're going to say, what did we do to what Director Kim said? ARM is well known throughout the communities. Their owner got an award this past year.
Where's the
ARM is a very good company.
Really?
They're going to have an audit, and as Director Ego says, what happens when there's nothing found? Then what? They've been very transparent, given all the data to everybody.
That's ridiculous.
I've been very quiet listening to everybody talking. Okay? So, before we start throwing F words around, be cognizant of a company, a private company that we have contracted, that is known throughout the United States, that has got the contract. Remember, this the contract that have Mattel-themed parks throughout the United States. We're blessed to have somebody that big running our water park, just as much as we're blessed to have somebody like Oakview running our convention center. Instead of what we did years ago, which was barely nothing and running ourselves and not making anything, we got high-quality companies running our facilities, and we should be proud of that. Portsmouth is, as I said 2 months ago, and Neil's even said it, Portsmouth's on a path of change, and if we don't do something to keep our trajectory going, we're gonna fall behind. Look at what happened around 2 weeks ago. Fable, 61 million for aquatics facility. Van Buren, a tax increase, put $37 million for community center and underwater park. Greenwood passes a tax extension, help with their park system. Parks is where it's gonna happen at. People want parks, people want things to do, so they invest in their communities. If you don't do that, you're gonna fall behind, and you're gonna look back in your 20 years and regret you did not do something. You know, Mayor, I've been very, very quiet tonight, trying to let my board members talk. But there's a point to where we start throwing words around, and it starts impacting, just not us, impacts who comes to the city, who might invest in our city, what companies are coming here, in fact, impacts everything. The audit's gonna be done, we voted for it. We'll see what happens, but we need to run the park. It's time for the season's a month away, time to run the park. Let's get this going. Thanks, Mayor.
Director George, consider your recommendation.
I'm gonna make a motion, Mayor, to withhold any funds from ARM or withhold hiring ARM until the audit's complete.
Right.
That's it.
Second.
Point of inquiry. Do we know how?
Report likely won't be until the later part of May or even June.
Wow.
Thank you.
Wow.
And I have a question as well, Mayor.
Yes.
Jeff, would you mind just speaking to, it was touched on a little bit ago, but what is the payment procedure for this contract and this company?
The payment procedure for the proposed contract is the same as it's been, and that is a 5% of gross revenues of the park on a monthly basis is attributed to the operator, and that is withdrawn from the operator from the operating funds of the park.
So its payment does not occur without revenue being generated with the park being open?
Correct. And months, well, you know, like the winter months when there's very little revenue, there's very little management fee paid. In the summer months when there's considerable revenue, then that's when their bulk of their management fee is paid, because they do it on a monthly basis based on the 5% of gross revenues for that.
And are they paid once a month, at the end of the month, twice a month?
At the end of the month, when the books are reconciled to determine what the gross revenues were, that's when they get their 5%.
Do we pay their director $154,615?
We do not. That is paid from the parks operating fund. The only dollars that the city
That's
or
still our
county.
money.
That, I don't know, the city or county, we don't pay that. It is paid from the operating funds of the park.
Mr. Mayor?
Director Neil Martin.
So, we're 50-50 owners with the county. Can we withhold payment legally with, if we're the only ones that don't want to pay it? Like if the county, I mean, what recourse do we have? I mean, can we actually do that?
Yeah, so if the idea was to have a term in this contract that says payments arm is contingent, you know, shall not begin until after some audit date, I think you can have a contract provision that says that, but it will take, you know, all the contracting parties agreeable to such term. Not only the city, but yes, the county, and yes, arm.
That was my question. Like I said, there's 3 people who have to agree to this, and once it's no, then there's no agreement.
Okay, thank you. Director Christie.
Wow. You know, why are we just letting them write the terms of the contract and just accepting them without any sort of negotiation? you know, I'm not in favor of using them, I think y'all probably are. I mean, I don't know why we can't go back to them and say, we've got other qualified proposals, submit your best and final terms. You know, why don't you come up with some other revenue streams like these other people have done very thoughtfully? I thought that was a very good idea, swim lessons aligned with school breaks, lifeguard training classes. I mean, this is our money, this is the park's money, they should be trying to generate revenue in all different ways. This was my issue with them last year, was, well, it rained, we had a rainy season, we have we have a deficit, instead of saying, we're gonna stay open later, we're gonna stay open for a longer season, because in a private business, you would have to do that, you would have to find ways to make up that revenue.
Just to clarify some things, last year was the first time, the water park opened up for Mother's Day, they did do that. The water park that does everything you said for already, they do aqua jog weekly, they do tiny tots weekly. Aqua jogs allow people to use the lazy river to jog around to get therapy. They do private parties every night. The month of June, there was only 3 nights that did not have a private party. They do the largest swim lesson thing is National Day, they do that, and have swim lessons there. They contract with other agencies like the fire department to use the wave pool to do training. Everything you said, the park already does.
Then where is that revenue in their profit and loss statement?
Mic drop. Are there any other comments?
Just a quick question.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, Jeff, I understand this. They get 5% of the gross receipts, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, but if the park loses money, then they still get their 5%, right?
But if the park has, yes.
So where's the incentive to be efficient, knowing it's not gonna cost them any money?
There is none. That's why last year it operated in the red, and they still got $94,000 a year, plus their director got $154,000 a year. We spent $250,000 on marketing, and the list goes on.
Director George.
Side by side, yeah.
Thank you. If there are no more further comments, Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
This is on the amendment.
Yes.
Directors Christina Katsakis.
Wait, I'm turned around now.
What's the
amendment?
You made the amendment, Director Gonzalez.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Are you keeping that, or are you withdrawing?
No, it's just what Mr. Podesky asked me to do.
Oh, wait.
The withhold payments from ARM and not hire them until after the audit.
But I think what Director Martin was saying, we can't legally do that. Is that what Colby was saying?
Colby's saying that we, would have to get approval, all 3 parties, us, the county, and all, to agree on that.
So I think you need to withdraw that, so we're not doing something.
Okay, just disregard it then, that's fine, that's fine.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay.
With that, we will be voting on the original resolution. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Directors Christina Katsakis.
No.
Settle.
Yes.
Martin.
Yes.
Rigo.
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
Kemp.
Yes.
George Katsakis.
No.
Motion passes 5 in favor and 2 opposed.
Okay, we'll go to item number 5.
Item 5 is a resolution authorizing a prioritized capital improvement plan for water projects specific to fiscal year 2026 only. The original 10-year plan was discussed at the February 10th board study session, where the board suggested the plan be condensed and limited to projects that have identified the funding.
Thank you very much,
Funding is
DB.
identified and available in 2026 for the following 4 prioritized water projects. First, the I-540 water line crossing at Euchre Lane, which needs replacement. The Midland Bridge transmission line, which is leaking and needs repair. The Racetrack Road water line improvements, which has economic development impact. And the I-49 and Highway 22 transmission line encasement, which needs to be installed while access ramps for the bridge are being built for cost considerations. Doing this work after the bridge and ramps are built will require mooring and will be much more expensive. Project description pages for these 4 projects have been provided at your spaces this evening, and an electronic copy has also been emailed to you. With that brief description, Deputy Director of Engineering Jimmy Johnson will address specific questions the board may have on these identified projects.
Thank you. Any comments, Jimmy?
No, I just stand for questions.
Okay, thank you. Madam Clerk, are there citizens' comments on this item?
None indicated.
Need a motion to adopt the resolution?
So, second, thank you.
Mayor,
Yes, Director Rico.
thank you. Assuming passage of this tonight, do you all anticipate that, these projects, and I know it says in the memo that, you know, each one will come back to us for individual, vote on the contracts as they're awarded, but is it anticipated that these 4 items would be able to be completed this calendar year, or the majority?
Come in, Jaguar.
Yes, the only one that might be an issue is the encasement projects, because that's time sensitive. We've got to get in and get our construction done prior to the contract that the state already has.
And that's the $250,000 item that has a TBD project number?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments from the board? Please call the roll. I'm sorry, Director Neil Martin.
So this is these are water projects.
Yes.
Right? But it's not coming out of water. It's coming out of streets, bridges, and drainage.
It's coming out of water.
Well, that's not what right here at the top, it says capital improvement plan, streets, bridges, and associated drainage improvement. Is that a misprint?
On the one that you distributed tonight, Jim.
Yeah, that's the misprint.
Okay, all right, well, that clears up something for me. Okay, so we did not pass the CIP for water, for various reasons, and one of the reasons, I think, Director Rigo, don't let me put words in your mouth, but I think it's because it was unfunded. Is that true? Okay, so where are these dollars coming from?
Most of the money's gonna be coming from reimbursements from state highway projects, like Highway 45. We're getting reimbursements from that, and an engagement project we've just completed that's being reimbursed by the state. And we got some work going on south, just south of Zero Street, and that is gonna be 95% reimbursed.
Okay, so reimbursed by RDOT?
By RDOT.
Okay, so we are expending the money, they're giving us back. So how much are we getting reimbursed from RDOT? A total, I mean, do you know what that dollar amount is?
It was about $9 million, but I think we've already been partially reimbursed for part of Highway 45. I don't remember exactly how much we've been reimbursed from that.
And so all of that $9 million, including this $5.2 million, is water reimbursement for projects related to water.
Highway 45 does have some sewer work on it.
Okay, all right. Well, all right, I was really interested, I really wanted to understand where that money was coming from. That's all we have for water at this point, is that correct?
That's correct.
So, because there's no dedicated money to pay for capital projects for water.
Right.
That's ultimately what we've been talking about as it relates to the water transmission line and all those other things. So, okay, all right, I just wanted clarification on that. Thank you, Jim.
Director Rigo.
Thank you, Mayor. And then just quickly, Jeff, as it says in the memo here, as the funding sources are identified for each of these $5.2 million in total, that's when they're going to come forward to us for consideration or final approval.
Correct. When we have the contracts ready and all of that is ready, and we'll have the identified funding ready for consideration as well.
Thank you.
Not until November, Cammy.
Comments or questions from the board? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Director Settle,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Rigo.
Yes.
Good,
Yes.
Kemp,
Yes.
George Katsakis.
Yes.
Christina Katsakis.
Yes.
Approved, 7 in favor, 0 opposed.
Okay, the note, item number 6 has been pulled. With that, we'll go to item number 7.
Item 7 seeks the board's approval of an engineering services agreement with the Trek Design Group for SSA work in the subbasins P006 and P005 in the amount of $766,933.03. SSA work was completed on this area prior to entering a consent decree. Some of the remediation work has been completed. However,
we
the
have a
condition of the
very
drainage
diverse
system in this
population.
basin has continued to deteriorate, and the SSA work must be updated in order to design a suitable remediation plan. Mr. Johnson will address questions from the board on this item.
Any comments, Jimmy? Just, okay, thank you. Are there any citizens' comments, Madam Clerk?
Yes, one, Mr. Levon Morton.
Mine's already gone. Okay. Is Levon in the room? Okay. Thank you. Any other citizens' comments, Madam Clerk?
None indicated.
Thank you. Entertain a motion to adopt the resolution.
So moved. Second.
Thank you. Comments from the board? Reverend Gilmore.
I was surprised at this one, in the fact that we need to do a sanitary sewer assessment. I understand it's been a while since we did a sanitary sewer assessment, but are there other projects that need sanitary sewer assessments that, my assumption is we did all that at the beginning of the consent decree, and so this one kind of surprised me.
So this work was actually done prior to the consent decree, and the pipes have continued to fail, so the information we're designing on is 12 years old.
Okay.
And,
With this,
and also, there's also a continuing SSA, so if we do the work as, the SSA work as it is done 12 years ago, we already need to do the SSA,
sure.
continuing SSA work on this area.
So when the consent decree started, shouldn't we have done an SSA on it at that time?
If we had the funding, we would have, but we did not have enough funding to,
And then we raised rates and we allocated sales tax on it, so now we have dollars. Let me ask this, are there any other, projects that we need to do sanitary sewer assessments for? Because the original assessment's too old.
there is an area in the city that has not had SSA work done on it at all.
And we're gonna
But
have to
it
do.
is not under the consent decree.
Okay, so we won't have to do an SSA on it for the consent decree.
If we don't do the SSA work in Fort Chaffee area, there's a possibility that we could get a second CD on that area. That area is not under the CD because the sewer doesn't flow through our treatment plants. It flows to Barber.
Okay. But anything else in the city that's under the consent decree today, does it require a sanitary sewer system?
No.
Because our original is too old?
No.
Are there any that will, in 2 years, will be that way?
I don't foresee any more being, because, they're not nearly as old, and this is by far the worst area of the city as far as the condition of the existing pipes.
Okay. Secondarily, I'll ask, how was this firm selected?
We selected 3 firms
There were 3 firms, did I miss that?
that we
Okay, there, I see it.
considered, and all 3 of them had statements of qualifications on file.
But this wasn't a competitive bid?
No,
This was precision, okay.
You're right, you can't competitive bid engineering services.
Okay. All right, and so we selected these 3?
Yes.
Okay.
And, just for information, they're charging about $10 per foot, and we have active contracts now where, after the contractor's through construction, they TV the lines. And some of those, the average of those projects are $7.90 a foot just for televising. It doesn't include cleaning, it doesn't include.
You can start it right in,
assessment,
Jaguar.
It doesn't include flow monitoring, it doesn't include,
There's just other things that.
it's other things that's not included, so it's pretty competitive with what we've seen.
Okay, thank you, Chief.
Director Christine Sanders.
A few weeks ago at a study session, I was talking about the problem with these consent decrees as you get into them and the scope keeps growing and growing, and I was told all of this work had been completed very definitively, that all of this had been done, and now this is coming up, and it makes me wonder what's gonna continue to come up.
This work was done prior to the CD, and this SSA work was done prior to the CD being implemented. However, the continuing SSA work continues on every 10 years. you have to do this SSA work again throughout the whole entire system. So this area, if we go with the information we have, then in 2 years, we have to do an SSA of this area anyway. So.
So all
and
of
then
that
come back-
work that was done when we entered into the consent decree, is that outdated at this point? Cause that's been,
So,
that's been 10 years.
so there are
now.
some areas that were completed, not only the SSA work, but the remedial measures work was already done. It's in the Riverland area. There's a couple of subbasements that was completely completed prior to the CD, and they are pretty close to needing, well, in 2 years, they'll have to start the continuing SSA on those basins.
Let me just comment to that point. I mean, part of the
Button on my bio,
continual best
find out.
practices for operating a sewer system is that you do sanitary sewer assessments repeatedly. And so, you go incrementally through, and even if we weren't under consent decree, the best practice is we would divide the city up into maybe 10 segments and do a 10th of our system every year. And that would be part of our normal operations, that we would assess part of our system every year and determine what defects or what problems those are and what things need to be repaired or fixed or upgraded or adjusted for capacity issues and those sorts of things. And so that part of the consent decree is a capacity management, operations and maintenance requirement that we continue to do these types of best practices efforts even after the consent decree is lifted. And so I think that's part of what Jimmy's referring to here is that we have an obligation to continue doing this SSA work as we go a period of time after one section has been assessed. We'll go on and do other assessments, but then we'll have to go back to that section at some point in the future to assess it again.
So this isn't, oh, sorry.
But what I was trying to determine, is there other work out there that can be pulled in or grandfathered in under the consent decree? I understand we have to continually maintain our system so we don't get into this situation again. But are there other things that are going to come up that are going to be pulled in that are under that purview of the consent decree? That's what I was trying to determine.
Not that I can think of at the moment,
But it's possible.
I mean, if we have a line collapse and it had never scored a 4 or 5, we have to immediately take care of it.
Right.
So emergency
Right, I
situations will
understand
arise.
emergency situations. But I had, what precipitated with this was I was reading through documentation on a congressional hearing, and this was something they were talking about, was that they've seen this with other cities. They get into these consent decrees, they sign on to them, they think that's gonna be the end of it, and then once you get into this agreement, then there's all kinds of other things that can be pulled in, and it just grows and grows and grows, and I feel like we've seen that with where we originally started versus the dollar amount where we're at now. So that's all for me, thank you.
Director Simmons.
Thank you, Christine, that's been my concern from Consent Decree from day one, is it grows and grows and grows. Jeff, is there any way you guys could, you and the team could put together a calendar when we think we might have to redo the SSAs for the 10-year notification? So what I'm trying to get to is, if we know that there's gonna be a certain period of time where we're gonna get 3 or 4 or 5 years of SSA work, instead of doing it on a yearly basis, could we get a better deal if we did, if we did one contract over a 5-year period, would we get a better rate? Would we get, cost less? So just maybe a calendar and saying, hey, in 2030, this is it, 2031, 2032. I think something like that might allow us to see if there's an opportunity to choose choose a firm, whoever it is, national, local, and then see if we can get a better rate for a SSA work, especially this one.
That's amazing, Justin. I'm very humbled.
Any other comments or questions? Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Directors Martin,
Yes.
Rigo.
Yes.
Good,
Yes.
Kemp,
Yes.
George Katsavas,
Yes.
Christina Katsavas.
Yes.
Settle.
Yes.
It's approved, 7 in favor and 0 opposed.
Item number 8.
Item 8 is a resolution approving an engineering services agreement with RJN Group associated with B Street South sewer upgrades in the amount of $99,960. Mr. Johnson?
So B Street is a sewer line that passes under the railroad tracks, and the railroad company requires us to do quite a bit of, subsurface exploration before we can bore under their tracks. And they've got a pretty stiff, permitting, price that, RDN will be, when they submit the permit, that they'll be paying that fee. That all, stand for questions.
Thank you, Jimmy. Are there any citizens' comments, Madam Clerk?
None indicated.
Need a motion to adopt the resolution? Need a second?
Second.
Okay. Any other comments from the board? Please call the roll.
Director Rigo?
Yes.
Good?
Yes.
Kemp?
Yes.
George Katsabis? Christina Katsabis?
Yes.
Settle?
Yes.
Martin?
Yes.
It's approved, 7 in favor and 0 opposed.
This time we go to item number 9, which is the consent agenda.
There are 6 items on tonight's consent agenda, including a resolution authorizing an MOU with Methodist Village regarding the 2025 TAP grant project, a resolution accepting award of the 2025 TAP grant funds for the Methodist Village Connector Trail, a resolution approving purchase of 2 one-ton trucks for public works from the replacement fund, a resolution approving the contract for Creedmoor Park Tennis Court resurfacing project, a resolution approving a contract for Cisterna Park Pump House Improvement Project, and a resolution approving the purchase of 17 police patrol vehicles for the police department from the sales and use tax fund.
Okay, thank you very much. Are there any citizens' comments on any of these items?
Yes, on 9A and 9D, we have Andy Hanna only to answer questions.
Okay, thank you for
And
being
then we have 2 individuals on 9D.
Okay.
The first being Nathan Marcotte, is that correct?
Yes.
I'll answer questions only.
Yes, please.
Thank you.
And then Joey McCutcheon for 9D as well.
Over the last year, many of our citizens are suffering. You know, many citizens in this town are having a hard time paying their water bills, their utility bills. It just seems a bit tone deaf when we're spending $1.2 million, and I love tennis. I mean, I played that at Creekmore, and certainly I love improvements. But, you know, parks aren't where it's at. You know, solvency is where it's at, Director Settle, and a good government. And so it's concerning that we're spending $1.2 million after, you know, the discussions, the hard decisions that were made at the end of last year. One of my concerns with 9D is, you know, we passed an ordinance, 5015, which is in your packet, back in 2015. But times have changed. This gives a local bidding preference, and I'm all for local companies getting projects, but we're giving a local bidding preference here to the tune of costing the taxpayers $60,000, when we have another bid that's lower than that. You know, just the fact that our local bidder, Steve V Construction, got it great, but he needs to be the lowest bidder. I mean, $60,000 is not chicken feed. This is taxpayer dollars. And so I think this board needs to reconsider ordinance 2015 and change the shall language to may. And in times where we can afford to give a 5% local bidding preference, great. But when we shouldn't send a bad message when citizens are tightening their billfolds. You know, why shouldn't we take the lowest bidder and save $60,000 and send that message? And to me, that's important. So will you consider Director Martin or Director Settle or Director Katsabis or Director Rigo looking at this ordinance and changing the language to may as opposed to shall, which gives yourself some leeway in terms of bidding preferences? Because we all support local folks, and that's it's a good idea.
Good point. Thank you.
Thanks, Joey.
Madam Clerk, are there any others?
No, that's it.
Okay. This time, we entertain a motion to adopt the consent agenda.
So moved. Second.
Thank you. Board comments?
Got a question on A.
Raise your mark.
We had somebody speak, Mr. Hannon, I think.
You, no, you come on.
Okay.
I guess I'm wondering about the steepness of that trail. I'm familiar with that area, and if you're kind of on a hill and you go down into Caroline Cross, how steep is that? I mean, you might not know.
Yeah,
grades and all
we
that.
have to perform the topographic survey.
You have not, you have.
Yeah, we have to do the agreement with the city first.
Oh, okay.
We
Okay.
can execute that.
I'm with you. I know people in that area. It's a really, like, being able to connect that neighborhood with Caroline Cross without having to get on 74th, the sidewalks on 74th is awesome. I love this project. I appreciate Methodist Village and what they've done here. I think this is a really cool deal for building that connectivity, and yeah, I'm excited. I'm just interested. I've walked that area. I've been back there. I know the steepness of it, and I'm just kind of interested in how that's going to be.
I'll say, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but that'll have to be an ADA compliant facility.
Okay, great.
And so there will be instances of grade, but there will also have to be landings of a particular length to be able to recover from that as they proceed on. So I mean, that will be the grade will be a challenge, but that's what they're doing.
Well, and it's for Methodist Village, but Methodist Village wants to do it for the community. So I think that's really great. So appreciate them and all the folks that are out there.
I got questions on D and F, Mayor.
Yes, start with D.
One question for D, for Sarah, is how does the timing impact this year's tennis season? Is it gonna be, I know it's four courts at a time, and how long will it take to do the project?
So we're looking at 120 days substantial completion and another 30 days just to kind of tidy things up. But honestly, working through this with the Western Arkansas Tennis Association and working with them, they do recognize it's our goal to always keep 4 courts open, but sometimes when you get in construction, that might not happen. But they are prepared to have to modify that, and I think at the end of the day, sometimes, minor inconveniences, whenever you're getting this product, they're willing to work with us, and we greatly appreciate that.
Okay, thank you very much. Only on F is, to Chief, thank you very much for bringing this to us, 17 Dodge Durangos, fully outfitted. Glad to see more officers with cars and service. Thank you very much, sir, appreciate it.
Thank you, Chief. Okay. There are no further questions on the consent agenda. We will entertain a motion to adopt the consent agenda. We already got it. Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Directors Good,
Yes.
Kemp,
Yes.
George Katsakis, Christina Katsakis,
Yes.
Settle,
Yes.
Martin.
Yes.
Rigo.
Yes.
It's approved, 7 in favor and 0 opposed.
Thank you very much. This time we go to the official forum. No comments. I appreciate all of those who attended the State of the City address. This time we will go to Director Rigo.
Nothing for me tonight, Mayor. Thank you.
Director Good.
Thank you, Mayor. A couple of things. Want to congratulate UA Fort Smith, Curtis Jans for being nominated for AD of the Year. I think there were 28 awards, he was one of those. Also, he let me know that more good news about UA Fort Smith, both men's and women's golf teams were both ranked in the NCAA Division II Central Region. The other thing I wanted, I'd like to ask fellow board members for approval by resolution to continue the support for Main Street in regards to the Levitt Family Foundation grant. We've been matching the grant for Levitt for Main Street. It's already in the budget, but we need to, the series year is up, so we need to continue that by resolution.
Is that, you would like that to come to
Well, either, do we need to have a study session? I mean, we've already done it, it's ongoing, is it a continuation?
So it's your preference, and now it's just a resolution for consideration.
Okay, resolution for
Point of
consideration.
inquiry, was that not already approved when we did the contract with Main Street, or is you saying this is an additional?
This would be in addition to, this is different, a separate item from the agreement with Main Street, Fort Smith itself. This would be a resolution authorizing the use of the budgeted $20,000 that we've got in the budget for the support of the Levitt Amp Music Series grant specifically.
Correct. I would second and support
I've never seen
consideration.
that. I've never seen that in our budget before. I've never seen us vote on that.
It's been in the budget each year.
Been in the budget?
For the last 3 years. We haven't made that contribution each of the last 3 years. 2026 starts a new 3-year cycle. There are dollars in the budget in terms of, I think it's perfect to have an agreement recognizing that contribution.
I mean, I'm a pretty good note taker, but I cannot find levitt in my
3 years ago,
LEVITT. Okay.
Thank you, Neil.
Okay, there was a second.
Was this to clarify, to place on the, April 7th regular meeting?
Yes. Director Kim?
Thank you, Mayor. Wanted to talk to my colleagues and just let you know an update on our services with Colin Benzinger Associates for the city administrator search. March 29th is a Sunday, and March 30th is a Monday. March 29th, March 30th. Mr. Garvin will be emailing the board and communicating with each of you as directors. Colin Benzinger Associates is going to send representation to Fort Smith to meet and collect feedback individually from directors. And then we'll build from that individual meetings. They'll also meet with department heads throughout the city as well, as long as availability allows them to before they have to depart again. And then they will take that information to build a recruitment profile, which then will be sent back to us to review and get feedback so that they can then put together the promotional piece, what they will use to post and privately recruit and solicit applicants for the city administrator. So the reason we advocated for this is that knowing that people have day jobs and maybe you're not available on Monday, our hope would be that maybe you can connect on like a Sunday afternoon, somewhere in the time frame of like a 4 to 8 p.m. on a Sunday, or from an 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. focus on Monday the 30th. And I didn't know if there's any questions.
29th and 30th?
29th and 30th. That's all, Mayor. Thank you.
Director George Lassalle. Okay. Director Christina Sands.
Well, since we're talking about the city administrator search, it seems like a lot of people have just moved past it. An issue I've been receiving a lot of communication on is a petition circulating to change the form of government, and there's been an additional level of public interest now that it was signed by our own acting city administrator. I hesitated to bring this up because it's not my initiative, and I didn't want to be disrespectful to another candidate in the mayor's race. But I don't think we can ignore or pretend that this petition isn't out there. This is no longer a fringe discussion. There's a lot of confusion about how this works procedurally. I've had a lot of people asking me as I've been out talking to people, and I've read the law. I don't know quite how to interpret it. I think it merits some public discussion because we don't have concrete answers. The gaps get filled in with speculation and sometimes misinformation. So I'm going to make a motion that we hold a study session to discuss this process, make sure the public has accurate information. I think we need to approach this in a transparent way so as not to further erode public trust, because this is a conversation that's being held out in the community, and I think it makes us look a little out of touch to not be holding that conversation in here.
I second that. If I may, I would just like to suggest that in the course of that conversation, we have some information presented about just the procedures around petition gathering and what, because there are rules and laws and regulations and things on the books that go into how that process is supposed to go. And I think that would also be beneficial to have a refresher or a chance to learn about that too.
Yes, I think, Colby, that would be important for you to be here for that. And then also, I also wanted to bring up, when we have the citizens forum, there are sometimes 3.5, 4-hour meetings people sit through to get the ability to speak to us. And we shouldn't be limiting what they're able to speak about. So I would like to make a motion, we change the rule that says they can't speak about anything that's on the current agenda. I've heard from citizens that feel like that rule's not always applied evenly. I think there was someone last week that was speaking on the homeless issue when we had discussed it on study sessions. I think if you're a citizen, you're wanting to connect with your government, you should be able to talk about anything that's on your mind.
Thank you.
Work for us.
Thank you, Christina, thank you, George.
Thank you.
I would just say to that, I mean, it does require an ordinance change, and so, I mean, that's certainly, we can certainly facilitate a discussion of what that might look like, but
So
we
let's,
can't make a
we'll
change.
put it on the study session.
Thank you.
Rich said.
I think, Mayor, I'm gonna change the subject for a few minutes. I'm wearing orange tonight for MS Awareness Month. Approximately 2.9 million people live with multiple sclerosis worldwide, nearly a million cases a year. It's a congenital, neurodegenerative disease, roughly 3 times common in women than men. There's no cure, there's no treatment, there's treatments, but there's no cure. It can manage the symptoms and slowness of progress. Chances you know somebody that has MS, but they just don't know. Higher chances that they don't even know they have it. The reason I bring this up is my wife's been living that for the past 35 years.
Yeah.
And she's a brave woman.
Yep, she is.
With 2 kids, myself, it's hard to hurt. But this is month for MS Awareness Month, and she's fighting to get the awareness out there for everybody. And she's fighting for the city of Fort Smith, but I wanted everybody to know that I'm wearing orange because of her.
Thank you very much. Director Gilmore.
Yeah, thank you, Director, so nothing from me,
Thank
Mayor.
you, why?
Thank you. Jeff.
Sure, thank you, Mayor. First of all, will be no board study session or meeting next Tuesday, March 24th. We do have the staff request for the board to call a special meeting at 6 p.m. on March 31st ahead of the regularly scheduled study session, so that we might discuss congressional directed spending applications. If the board could make that.
I'll make a motion to do that.
Thank you.
If I could, I need 4 to call a special meeting.
Thank you, Sherry.
Okay, finally, for auto pay customers, a number of auto pay customers scheduled for March 9th specifically. There was an issue on that day and the auto payments did not occur. Pay It and Citizen Services identified almost 663 customers affected who will be getting contacted by Pay It and or the Citizen Services team if you haven't already. But if anyone, everyone should double check their auto pay and make sure it happened, and if it didn't happen as it was supposed to, then you should please contact Citizen Services. That's all. Yes. No fees or penalties or shut-off notices will be assessed regarding.
Is there anything else to come before the board? If not, motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
That is awesome. So Christina Katsavitz made a motion for a study session about how we're going to convert the city from a administrative form of government to a mayoral form of government. That's a big win. That is exactly what I wanted to happen. So I'm really glad that she followed through with that. That's a good thing. It's a good thing for all of us. Yeah, I'm excited about that, although the study session won't be for 2 weeks, so I won't be here next week. It'll be the week after, but that's exactly what we needed to happen. I'm going to go solicit some signatures for some people, so I'm going to let you go for now. I love you guys. Bye.